Hi, this is Wishop, and this is your reading for the new moon in Virgo on September 19th or 20th, depending where in the world you are. We're also coming up on the fall equinox of September 22nd, and there are a lot of people talking about the 5 personal planets in Virgo, which is Sun, Moon, Venus, Mars, Mercury. With Pluto, that's a lot of power in Earth. Pluto's in Capricorn now. There are a ton of people that you can listen to, very interesting, insightful people who've got a lot to say about starting new regimes for health or daily life or work under these aspects. And Virgo is the harvest sign, the grain goddess. So definitely all that's aspected well. But I would like to talk about some of the other less discussed aspects, or at least as I see them, in this time period. So one of them is, I think you're best served possibly in starting things that you have been thinking about for a while. Because with so much energy in mutable signs, right now we have all the stuff in Virgo, which is a mutable sign. And then Pisces has Chiron, basically in straight opposition, Chiron, the wounded healer. And then we have Saturn in Sagittarius, which is conjunct with Black Moon Lilith in Sagittarius. So those are all 3 mutable signs, and they're fired up. And that means they push towards change. And sometimes change just for change's sake. So Virgo wants to make good constructive change, but with all this energy behind it, you might feel pushed into changes that may or may not be really in the long-term part of your authentic self. That doesn't mean that it's a mistake to try things. In fact, I think that experimenting is very well aspected right now, but maybe get the trial membership to the gym. Maybe a gym is perfect for you, but maybe it's not this one, and you have to adapt. You have to find another one, or maybe you end up finding a personal trainer, or you decide you want to do yoga instead. You can begin a process right now with small steps, and they will carry you forward in powerful ways. But you want to make sure you don't overcommit your resources, because Virgo wants to be practical with resources, and also that you are honoring your true self, because Virgo can be, in an unbalanced state, kind of a people pleaser. It can also, with all of that mercurial energy, can be powered by anxiety, trying to make things perfect, hypercritical, hypercriticism, self-criticism, guilt. Those are all the things that can happen when it's out of balance. And you don't want to be doing things because you feel guilty about who you are already, because other people are changing. Right now, the sun and moon are in Virgo, obviously, for the new moon, but Venus and Mars are together too. So we have this polarity that says where you are attached to another person in partnership, in love, in family, their movement may feel like it's pulling you along. And if you don't go along, you may feel like you're being an anchor to them in a bad way, not a good way, or they may be treating you like that, or they may judge you that way, or you may feel that way about someone else. You're holding me down, you're dragging me down. I could make the changes I want if you weren't, if you weren't you and I weren't me. So what happens during this time, I think it's a great time, if you haven't seen Kellyanne Maddox's series for Self-Love September or looked in on any of those videos, I think they're fantastic, and she does it every year. She's a spiritual counselor and a practitioner. So one video that she just did is on trusting yourself. How do you trust yourself? And that's the part I really want to get to, because I believe that when we try new things and they don't work out exactly as we wished, or they didn't work out in the past, whatever the reason is, we can really start to feel a sense of failure. And if Virgo's super high energy, you may feel a lot of self-criticism and self-judgment, and that kind of moralizing is profoundly demoralizing, if you know what I mean. it's very hard to take action when you feel like a failure before you've begun. And especially in the realm of work and health, and I want to say especially health and food. We're in a culture right now where wickedness or goodness, where virtue or sin are assigned to every bite you put in your mouth. And that is, I think, not very helpful to people's health. And so I think it's better for yourself, realizing what a unique individual you are. Your history, your traditions, your medical conditions, your body's reaction, your brain chemistry, your metabolism, all that stuff is unique to you, and nobody else can tell you specifically what's going to be right for you. And for someone else to apply a moral judgment on what you need for your own health and for your own well-being is not going to be very helpful. So try not to accept that. Just because someone else is putting it out there doesn't mean you have to accept it. And try not to do it to yourself. I mean, more than anything, try not to judge yourself harshly and to feel like a failure before you start, because for whatever reason, the latest trend of not eating this or doing this kind of exercise or this kind of cleanse, you don't seem to be able to follow this rigid schedule and you feel like a failure for it. That's not, I think, the path toward health. There is a path towards your personal health, which should be a path of joy, and it shouldn't feel like you're struggling and fighting and in a spiritual slap fight with yourself all the time. So that's what I want to say on that, just as a caution for the time period, because I think there's a lot of good that we can make from it, but it shouldn't come at the cost of our own self-concept. If that makes any sense. So I've got 2 tarot cards. I've got a retro Lenormand for focus, and I've got a Brownies oracle. So let's go with it. 2 of Swords. I shouldn't even be surprised. Page of Pentacles. How can I be surprised? Retro Lenormand. Let's see the realm of life. Look at I freaking love it. Okay. So 22, the roads in Lenormand can also be sort of the way or the paths. It is a card for me that's of Libra. It is a card of choices. It's always a card of, do you want to go this way or that way? And of course we have the 2 of Swords, which frequently symbolizes similar changes or similar dilemmas where we're looking at something and we're deciding which way we want to go. For me, this is Libra under the influence of Saturn. So Saturn is very grounding. And we have Libra, which is the air sign, which is deciding. Now, right now, she's under the power of the moon. So we're asking, where do your emotions lead you? Right now, she's in a state of balanced tension, right? So we've got the sword in each arm. Maybe eventually that's going to get heavy and we'll need to make a decision. But right now, she's in a point of balancing everything together and possibly waiting for the phase of the moon to pass, right? Like if the tides are all stirred up, maybe now is not the best time to try to figure out everything. And I think the Page of Pentacles is sort of emphasizing that in a way, because Page of Pentacles can be a classic tarot card for Virgo, for earth signs in general. And the Page of Pentacles is known as a student and known as focusing. So right now, you could focus on one thing, right? The page doesn't have as many pentacles or as large a supply of pentacles as the king. The page has been entrusted with this one thing, and it's a starter set. It's the beginning. It's a seed. So I think the idea is you don't need to make a permanent decision right now. You've got choices in front of you, lots of choices. You can be like a student and try them all out. And maybe try one at a time. Don't try to do everything at once, but pick one at a time. Focus on it and really see how it makes you feel. I mean, I think the fact that this is a new moon and that we've got all this health-related energy, I guess, is saying, how do you feel about this? Does it feel good? Because the idea that something is beneficial for you just because it feels bad is kind of a weird, perverse thing. Sometimes things which are beneficial for you might feel uncomfortable at first, like a new stretch, or maybe you have a new diet and it takes a little getting used to. But there's really a huge difference between a little bit of discomfort, a little bit of getting used to it, and something that really feels bad, really doesn't feel good. And I think that, as I said, this sort of moral application that people can put on their own physical choices, and we do that for lots of reasons, and this is not to blame anybody for doing that, because I think probably we've all done it. But when you put this moral application on your own physical choices and then apply that to other people, it can put other people in the situation of putting themselves into things that aren't right for them and feel terrible because they think that they're not quality people, that their hearts are not in the right place. And this is, I guess, what I'm counseling against. Don't think that your heart is not in the right place just because some other person's choice of work or health, which they may feel very passionate about right now, just because that's not right for you, you can honor them, be happy for them, and still stay strong in your own integrity for what's right for you. You don't want to throw out what's working for you just for the sake of changing to who knows what for who knows what reason. So really try to be discerning in that Virgoan way, discerning about your resources, about your own self, be aware of what's good for you, and then make whatever decisions make sense. But feel free right now to try a lot of things. And if there's something that you have been planning for a long time, because the Page of Pentacles is sort of the student card, go ahead and jump into that and feel great about it and be proud of yourself for any results that you're seeing for efforts that you've previously taken up. There is a need to commemorate, I think, because our culture too also says, well, if you make some sort of lifestyle change, then that's what you do for the rest of your life. And they tend not to put seasons on it. Like, well, this is how I have to eat or exercise or operate my schedule for the rest of my born days. Instead of recognizing that we all operate on seasons and we're entering the fall season, so energy tends to come down and want to be conserved. Think about ways where the activities you're taking up can honor the season and work with the energies of the season to be about things like harvesting, putting away for the future, preparation, appreciation of abundance, that kind of thing. So let's see what the Oracle card has to add. This is the Brownies Oracle. Immersion. Okay, so that's interesting. So in that case, what I would say, oh, look at this. Look at what's in the little thing. Study, study, study. Okay. It happens that I am actually in a course of study right now, or I've just begun one. So I have a feeling part of this is talking to me like, make that my focus. Don't split my focus in a million directions, but make the choice to focus on the thing I'm doing now. And it is a new thing which I've planned for quite a while. So I feel like it's well aspected. But immersion can also be talking about the idea that when you try something, give it a good, honest try. If you don't think you can give it a serious try, don't punish yourself by trying something that you don't really care about just because you think you need to try something. Some better idea will come to you. In fact, in this time period, you will not be short of ideas. So if you don't have your new moon intention set right now, you've got a month and you're going to have lots of ideas flying. So please enjoy yourself, celebrate your accomplishments, love who you are right now, and rock on with your bad selves.